It always amazes me when I see that we as black people, we don't always support our own. The example that I'm speaking of today is about Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is an actor, comedian, and stand up comic. The first time that I remember seeing Kevin Hart was in a TV series in 2004 that was called The Big House. It was a reverse Fresh Prince of Bel Air, where in Fresh Prince of Bel Air you have Will Smith leaves West Philadelphia and goes to Bel Air. He goes from not having much to go live with relatives who are very rich, his aunt, his uncle, his cousins. In the series The Big House, Kevin Hart, the series begins with Kevin Hart and his father living in California with a mansion. And as the series describes, Kevin Hart's father is arrested for some form of inside trading or something like that and is incarcerated. And this forces Kevin Hart to move to Philadelphia to relatives who don't have much. And he has to share a room with his cousin and such like that. It was a funny series. I do remember it. I remember him for it. Not too long after that, I saw him in a movie called Paper Soldiers with Benny Siegel, Stacey Dash. I remember that. Now I'm starting to see this guy. Who is this dude? What really put him on the map to me is I saw him in a movie called Something Like a Business. To me, very funny. It was him and his cousin. They had an uncle who was a pimp, and the pimp died, and he was played by David Allen Greer. And the two cousins inherited their uncle's stash of ladies. And I remember even parts with Clifton Powell, Leslie Jones. That movie was really silly, but it was very fun. Then, as he started succeeding and taking off, he ended up doing movies. I'm not going to put them in any type of order. I remember him doing Jumanji, Part 1 and 2. He did Ride Along, Part 1 and 2. He did Think Like a Man, Part 1 and 2. And success, money making. His comedy movies were very nice. But he also began to start to take on serious movie roles as well. He did a movie with Bryan Cranston that was called The Upside, and also did a movie called Fatherhood. In both of those movies, he played the part of someone that was based on a true story. He also, way later than that, did a series for a streaming service, and that movie was called Fight Night, $1 Million Heist. That was a serious movie, and that also was based on a true story. Showing the range that he has in his comedy. He has some silly comedies, he has some toned down comedy, he has his serious movies, but he also has done voices in cartoons that succeeded. He did The Secret Life of Pets, Part 1 and 2. And he's also done the series Captain Underpants. And he did the DC Super Pets. And a lot of the movies that he did were with The Rock, but he's also did movies with Mark Wahlberg. He's done movies with, of course, Tiffany Haddish. So, as I spoke on before about not being supported by your people, the problem that I saw, you had some people already saying things like, oh, he's just not that funny. And they will say things like, I've never laughed at a Kevin Hart joke, ever. But it really came into a head when you had fellow comic Cat Williams, who famously in his interview attacked Kevin Hart up and down and even calling him an industry plant. So I still don't know exactly what that means, but I always felt from that time that when Cat Williams did that, he did that out of pure jealousy. Now we got, like I said, Cat Williams fans and others that'll say, well, what the hell Cat Williams got to be jealous about? Kevin Hart ain't all that. Well, I don't recall Kevin Hart coming back at Cat Williams in any attack or anything or say anything against Cat Williams. So it really was a one-sided beef. And when you tend to have one-sided beef, the power that stays on that side will stay on that side. They are joining in with Cat Williams don't like him. I don't like him. Being a follower. So let's look at it for what it is and why I say that jealousy had to be involved in such a thing. Speaking about Kevin Hart has a net worth valued at over $450 million. He also has a media company that is called Heartbeat, and his media company alone is worth $650 million. So let's get on the part about Cat now. Cat Williams estimated value $3.5 million. $3.5 million ain't nothing for me to sneeze at, but if you want to compare the two comics, the two actors, the two success stories, that to me shows that Cat Williams is jealous of Kevin Hart's fame, his success, and his money. Comparing the two head to head is similar to taking basketball and comparing basketball players and saying a G League professional basketball player and comparing that player to an NBA superstar. That's how the differences are in this case. Now, I'm not saying that to attack Cat Williams. I say Cat Williams is good, but I say he's just not Kevin Hart good. Also, Kevin Hart, which I didn't mention, was all of his stand-up comedies. Some of them are titled, What Now? Let Me Explain, Laugh at My Pain. I'm not going to name them all, but I do recall him selling out New York's Madison Square Garden. And I definitely remember when one of his shows sold out Philadelphia Eagles Pro Football Stadium. And they did a skit opening act. It even used Halle Berry. So you can say what you want to about Kevin Hart, that little man, and all this other stuff. But the things that I think when I look back and I think of Kevin Hart is the stand-up of his Uncle Junior and his father. Most of the parts of his skits does utilize his family, which is good. When you look at it, each one of the shows are different family members in different situations. And then those quotes, those Kevin Hart quotes of, say it with your chest, very famous. And how many times have you heard that, all right, all right, all right? When you look at Facebook and a lot of the other social media, they share a lot of Kevin Hart and use him as a meme or use his lines in comedy in their shows. What's funny to me is the one where they have Kevin Hart leaning to the side with that look, and he hear that, look at here, look at here, look at here. So I'm not saying anything against that man because success is success. But if you want to know overall what my favorite all-time Kevin Hart situation is, I absolutely love Kevin Hart in The Real Husbands of Hollywood. If you've never seen The Real Husbands of Hollywood, it's Kevin Hart and the other actors. They're playing themselves but they're just like skit laden of themselves. Kevin Hart, Nick Cannon, JB Smooth, Erica Ash, Boris Kojo, and just go on and on. And also different guest stars that come on to play a part in it as well. This is just so funny, especially the scenes with him and Regina Hall and Sana Lathan had you in tears. So I'm going to close this for now. Say thank you for listening. And I hope you give me any comments, give me some likes. And if you will, please subscribe to my page. Thank you all. And I'm going to say bye-bye.